Hi everyone, it's your girl Issa for Saturday. So this week's topic is about trans mentors. Now, I don't really have like a physical mentor because, there's not really any transgender individuals in my life. Well, my real life. And so I've basically looked up to Janet Mock through this entire transition. And the reason I've looked up to her is because her and I, we in some ways share a very similar story. We both started out very young. Um, the only thing that I think that's really different between us is the fact that, well, A, she was bomb as hell. Yeah. Um, and then B, the fact that she was more courageous than I was because here she was at 13, already transitioned. Well, not 13, but when she was 13, she was already basically expressing herself. And when I was 13, I knew I was trans. I knew that I was like a woman and that was who I was, and I wanted to live that identity, but I was way too afraid to do that. So I didn't. And I feel like that's where we differ, kind of, because her story is kind of more, and my story is just kind of like, but regardless, I do look up to her because she's a writer and I want to be a writer. And she has just done such amazing things with her life. And she's disbanded so many stereotypes that come with being a trans woman of color, Like, I don't think I've ever seen a trans woman of color portrayed positively until recently with Laverne Cox. And that's about it. Laverne Cox and Janet Mock. At least the only two mainstream ones that I know are the ones that I see being positively embodied. I look up to Janet because when I was younger, I thought that I was the only black transsexual woman. I thought, oh my god, I'm the only black transsexual woman. And so one day I finally got the smartness to look it up on the internet and be like, black trans woman. And so all these pictures pop up of these black trans women. And unfortunately, about 90% of the pictures were either trans women who'd been killed or trans women who were prostitutes or porn stars. And keep in mind, I was about 12. I know, not necessarily the best thing for a 12-year-old to see, but I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, I'm not the only one. And when I saw how beautiful they were, I was even more happy because I was like, oh my god, this means that I can be pretty. But for a long time, because of what I was seeing, I kind of felt that I I would end up being, a porn star, a prostitute, or dead. I was very scared of the fact that I was a trans woman. I kind of was like, okay, we should either hide this or stop being trans. It's not going to be positive for us. And Janet Mock showed me that, what are you talking about? No, it's going to be very, very positive for you. You're going to enjoy being a trans woman. Um, and I think she's one of the biggest reasons why I'm interested in being a mentor myself. I feel that the more visible we are, the less afraid people get. But I'm kind of being a hypocrite right now because I'm in this situation where I'm stealth at school and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving being stealth. I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't want to tell anyone. Even though people are going to find out pretty soon because y'all know my whole part-time situation, so it's coming. But still, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I love this because I'm being treated like a girl, if you will, and I don't want to be treated differently. But the thing is, if I don't make myself visible, then the next trans girl that comes along she may not be treated like a girl. And she may have to do the same thing I'm doing and hide this one part of herself that truly is beautiful. And I don't think that's fair. So that's kind of why I joined TYC, so I could kind of be visible without having to not be visible. But hopefully eventually I can be as visible as I want. But since this is a mentor video, I am allowed to give some of y'all some advice, which is great because I have a lot of advice to give. I'm sort of a novice to this entire thing because, like, half of me is like, oh, you know, I've been trans for about like 4 years now, you know? So I'm like, oh, you know, I'm used to this. But the truth is, not really. Because for about 3 of those years, I was just hiding myself and being ashamed. So my advice to any young trans person out there, or old, what am I saying? Any trans person out there is to just not be ashamed. And maybe you're like me and you're in a situation where people are making you feel ashamed. People are making you feel like being trans is the worst thing ever, but it's not. It's a gift, honestly. It's a gift. Who else gets to say, "Hey, I fought to get where I am today so hard. I crossed the barriers of gender. I have defied nature." Well, not necessarily, because there are transgendered animals out there too. Not nature, but I have defied what is seen in society. I've defied something. And I have broken free and become myself. You know, that's something very few people get to say, that they're like away from the system. So just be proud. That's all I have to tell you, really. Just be proud, follow your dreams, and know that it gets better. I hope that was somewhat helpful. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
This the people I look up to, who I aspire to be like for certain qualities they possess, or that I identify with because of I actually have two. An aspect of their life. For example,